Hello! So, another drawing thing to try today. It's going to be dots. So I'm putting dots anywhere I feel like on this page. It's actually quite hard to be completely random. I think we're somehow programmed to create patterns, so even though I'm trying to put these dots quite randomly, I'm finding that hard. So we've got a constellation of dots here. They're kind of like stars. And again, that pattern seeking instinct, I can start to see different ways that I could join these up. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to join them up. It's a bit like the constellations of the stars. People see patterns out of the randomness. So you could just experiment with that, joining dots. You could link them all up, see what you end up with. You know, with more dots you could get more complex shapes. The other way to play it is to start to radiate lines out from these dots. So each of these dots is a starting point in the way that we had the sides of the paper as a starting point. Now it's these dots, and they can link up with each other. So lines are radiating out from the dots. You just go on as long as it pleases you from each of the dots, or as many of the dots as you feel like radiating out from. And we're starting to get a network here. That's what I quite like about it. It's an image of a network, interconnecting nodes on a network. There's something quite satisfying about that, I think. So as before, just try to just focus on what you're doing for a few minutes. You don't need to be thinking about anything else other than the marks you're making on the paper. The way the pen feels in your hand, the sound it makes as it travels across the paper. For a few minutes, that's all you need to focus on, where your next line is going. So I've kind of connected up quite a lot of them. Let's see any gaps, I might just fill them. This one here needs a few more strands coming out, and this one here. Lines radiating out from these different points, creating relationships. This one needs a few more connections. There, and I find that, I don't know why, but I find that really satisfying to look at, that interconnected web. Okay, so it's the next day now, and the studio is messy, but it's good mess. I've actually been working, and I'm going to show you quickly yes. So that's what I ended up doing with that dots and lines thing that I did yesterday, that I was showing you. So, you know, people that are into colouring, you can have a real field day with this. I get a bit bored of colouring, but I did get into it. So that was that web from yesterday coloured in. And I did a couple of other quick ones just flowy lines, even more flowy lines. I did a straight line one. What have I done with that? Zigzaggy lines, more flowy lines. Obviously, the more dots you have, the more complex it gets. This one is just 3 dots, and the lines radiate out. And that was a straight line one. And yeah, because maybe this exercise has got the tendency to be quite kind of tight and tidy, which, you know, that's fine if that's how you like to be. But sometimes it's nice to be a bit looser and messier. So I was just going to do one more quick one using up some ink. So I'm just going to start with 1 dot. Now a wiggly line, bit of water. And it's about the relationships between the lines. So these lines are kind of copying each other as they flow around, which is quite nice to do. Okay, I go for another colour for my other dot, and the lines radiate out again in relationship to each other, responding to each other, overlapping. There we go. Kind of jellyfish, maybe. Maybe space jellyfish. Yeah. Space jellyfish. Space jellyfish networks. Yeah, have a play, see what you come up with.